Also, I bruised my ribs or fractured them. So it's been a very difficult 4 weeks. Nice. That actually looks really good. The thing is, there's a little piece of the metal frame right there, and focus right there that I need to rip out, but fits there. So the other idea, the plan I've got, is I'm going to put a little bit of angle iron down there, and then probably a strip running from like the corner here, run down, one on each side. I don't plan on holding a whole lot of weight in here, but I mean, a battery, I'm gonna get one of those LiPo batteries, lithium iron phosphate. It'll run lights and outlets and 12-volt stuff on here. Like to in the future maybe even plan on doing solar, add a solar panel on here somehow, just to kind of, if I go to the beach or camping somewhere, can boondock and run a fridge, run lights, things like that, go camping. But I'm going to rip this out and square this up a little bit. The cut end that I made, yeah, it's not square, as you can see, but I'm going to put that on the bottom, and then I'll cut it flush, so that way the factory trimmed edge on the bottom right now will be facing up, so I'll have a nice square edge to work with. But man, these radiuses, man, look at that. That worked out really nice. I like that. Just do a little bit of welding where the gaps are. Call it good. Nice. Quick little update here while I close the end of the day. Had a couple things I had to take care of, so I wasn't able to dedicate the entire day, but for somebody who doesn't do a lot of fabricating, I think I'm doing alright. So this is the toolbox. That is kind of how it will go in the trailer. I've got a lip of angle iron, just real simple, like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch angle iron for the lid. The bottom currently is open, and I will cut the bottom out with the steel laying there on the trailer. And once I get that cut out, I've got these bottom pieces that will go on about like that. It'll hold the bottom on, but it'll also hold the bracing that's going to go down each side of it so that it can support the weight without bowing or bending or anything like that. So we'll get the top lid all welded up, we'll get the bottom welded on, and then we'll make a lid for it. And the lid is going to use either the angle iron that I bought, or maybe bed frame material, don't really know yet, but it's going to lap over this. So the lid, this is hot, so I gotta be careful. The lid will lap over like that. So if you imagine the lids hinging, it'll go up and then come down, and it'll just go all the way around. So it'll cover that up pretty nicely, make a nice tight seal. Got some hinges right down there for the lid, and then I've got some latches that lock on order. We'll probably paint it black just like the trailer, so it'll blend right in quite nicely. And yeah, so we got a lid piece cut out here, and then right over here I've got the lid frame. So that's the lid frame. Just angle iron wraps around it. Got some simple hinges that we're going to use. I'm going to put on the back. So it'll hinge, I'll lift it up just a little bit, and then that way it can open and close really easily. If you've noticed, I got a spare tire finally. So it's aired up, ready to go. Local friend, he hooked me up, got me a good deal. It's a brand new spare tire. Wasn't really looking at wanting to put a brand new one on, but that's what we got. And so the next update, we'll get this plate welded on, we'll sand everything down. I'm going to see about rhino lining it, painting it orange to kind of match this color. I think, I don't know yet, but we'll go from there and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I've done quite a bit over this past weekend here. As you can see, I have the platform kind of temporarily mounted in place. I've got the braces for the floor for this part of it welded in. I've got this expanded mesh just laid in. It's cut, but that's how it's going to fit. So that's the platform that my tent is going to lay on. And if you notice, the top part that flips out, there's a little bit of a space here. This is going to be just a walkway path sort of deal to go into the tent. But if you come around and look at it here, I ended up having to put straps because 2 100-pound gas struts is enough to lift this thing. I mounted these on, cut the straps, and immediately went and hit the roof. So I had to mount those in temporarily to hold it down. However, I think it'll be okay because I'm going to have a tent mounted in this area along with memory foam, mattress, padding. So there'll be some extra weight that will hold it down. But the idea was to make it easy to lift it out so that whenever it's laid out, I'm not struggling. So beefed up the hinges a little bit. I had some littler ones. I only had 2. I beefed them up and put 3 larger ones. So 3 larger hinges, and then on the platform that folds out, I ended up mounting some bracing in there as well. So that's a little better. And then just a small little thing. End up putting a little eye hook here that clips onto this, holds it in while it's in transportation. But previously I just had it wrapped around. That looks a little cleaner. Let's see. The other thing, we got some feet for when the tent is flipped open. It's going to have 3 legs. So when you run out of plate, you kind of make do with what you got, weld a couple pieces together. That'll work. Alright, let's weld it up. that is hot. Don't look at the welds too tight, but it'll work. That's all that matters. So those are the foot pads. This one's a little bit more complete here, so yeah, it's got the braces on it at the bottom. It's got a pinhole, so I'm going to probably drill a hole maybe 1 inch down, 1 inch up, just because if I come across any unlevel ground that I need to kind of do some adjusting, I can at least do some adjusting on these. But doing it this way, I'll have 3 pads, 3 poles for this, and then over here, don't know if I've got this shown already, but got the plate welded on, good old thick, it's probably 3/16, maybe 1/4 inch. I'm going to weld that little button on, and then I'll have 1, 2, and 3, and then got to figure out how I'm going to do like some kind of an arm handhold or something to kind of flip it over, but that's what sleeping's for. You think on it, present a problem, think about it, dream, and you'll figure it out. That will support and hold it, and these are going to be some of the legs. There'll be a tube that slides over this, it's pinned into place to hold it level, and then this will be the feet that it goes on the ground wherever it goes to hold it. And yeah, the next little project after I kind of figure that out is the ladder. I'm going to mount the ladder right about where this wheel is, so kind of next to that tie strap in this area, because it's going to fit inside this area, so it'll hinge out, and then there'll be 1 step that slides down, so you'll have probably 4 steps that come up to the platform here. So yeah, I think that's going to be another project, but we'll move on, we go from there. So we're back at it on this Sunday afternoon, and can't remember where I left off at, but I'll put some pictures in of some stages of where it's at. But pretty much have the tent platform mounted up pretty permanently. Had the struts mounted up here. As you can see, I have a couple holes. Originally it was here, and we laid it out, and it was too long. So when this thing unfolded, it got to about there, and then it ran out of stroke. So I ended up having a friend come over, thank you James, and we unbolted it all, laid it down flat, look at the picture here, and then measured, got it exactly how I wanted it. So I'm going to shorten the stroke a little bit, about 3 inches, so that'll give me about 1.5 inches, 2 inches extra in the piston here. So that way I'm not going to fully extend it. That should be good. I've got about half, or at least just started welding the expanded mesh on half of this platform. I got to get another 2 more sheets. 1 sheet will go onto this, the other sheet will go onto this half down here. Leaving this channel here in the middle, I'm leaving this open because I'm going to run wires from the front, which is where the battery is going to be in the box, and then run it down here, and that way I can run, I want to run lights underneath, and this is a good way of hiding and protecting the lights that I'm going to use for that. Just run it in some, shielding or plastic sheathing, whatever, this stuff, this, can't remember what they call that. Anyway, run it in that way the lights are, nicely hidden and protected. And then so yeah, there's that. Something else I'm working on is permanently mounting this platform. When the tent's folded, it's going to be straight across here. So if you imagine this lifted up a little bit, I'm going to have two poles that will come down under the screen here, and it'll be right around this area, and there'll be a rod that comes down. I can pin it so that way it is mechanically locked in place, and then I'll have a nice vinyl cover that I'm going to put on it. That'll be much later down the road, but have it mechanically locked in place so that way it can't go anywhere securely. That's what this is. The idea being I can mount this up kind of like this, give or take. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then this rod can slide down over it like that. And then I can put a pin. Kind of want to do maybe one of those spring-loaded pins where you can just pull it and then have it slide out or something. I don't know, something kind of easy. Something else I'm working on at the same time is steps. So I'm going to be making a ladder that's going to go right about where this wheel well is, and it's going to hinge out. And this is going to be, I've got these oak boards, they're like 8-9 inches by 8 foot, I think, but like inch and 1/8 thick, so not terribly thick. But if you glue them up, that's about 4.5 inches, 4.5 inches by 16. So that's going to be how wide the step is. And then I'm going to use angle iron here to set it in the channel, set the wood in there, and then just use carriage bolts, bolt it down, and then I'll have probably three steps between here, and then one step that will slide down another 10 inches or so. So it'll be 4 steps, and then one that slides, including all that. And then glue this up, glue this up, nice, wood platform, sand that down, and put some kind of coating on it, I don't know. Or do the next one, I don't know. But these are not wood glue. Type on 3, I pretty much only ever use this. So it's waterproof. I've had good experience with it, so yeah, we'll go from there, and we'll keep going and get more done here.